This is episode 60 of the Elbow Nudge podcast. And today we'll be
Yeah.
talking about
Howl's Moving Castle.
Howl's Moving Castle.
I thought you were going to do a cook-off.
No, only when it says cook-off.
Or pudding.
Or pudding. Or who?
Yeah.
Howl's?
Howl's Moving Castle.
All right, close enough.
You know what? It'll work.
All right.
The Who pudding cook-off is still fresh in our head.
We're here. We're ready to talk about this movie.
I'm Caroline. This is Tony. And yeah, we're
Hello.
ready to talk about this movie.
It's a Ghibli journey.
We're back. Ghibli journey, Hayao Miyazaki, Howl's Moving
It
Castle.
made a mistake. Let's get to it.
But not when Miyazaki makes it.
No, it's not anime when he...
It's not. It's art.
Yeah.
It's art. Now, Tony, this is a very different kind of standpoint that we're coming from because I asked you to read, or you heard, but to take in the book before we watched this movie. Because for those who don't know, Howl's Moving Castle is originally a book that Miyazaki adapted into a film. And what I did not tell you is that the movie is vastly different from the book. Am I right?
I think you did hint at it at least. I knew it was going to be different, but not this different.
It's a very interesting, this is something that I've been excited just for the conversation alone, because I feel like it's so rare that I have a person that has read the book and then is also open to watching the movie, because so many times the people that I meet that are fans of either media hate the other. So I know...
Oh, I already chose mine.
We'll get to that. Good, because I want to hear that. I'm okay with people choosing. I'm not saying that it's wrong to like one over the other, but there are people that I know that have read the book and then they watch the movie and then they hate the movie, and then there's vice versa. They watch the movie and then they read the book and they hate the book. So I'm a fence rider. I love both equally. I love both adaptions or both
But
media.
which one do you like more?
This is something that I wanted to do the game around. I wanted to make a game for Tony to kind of play in this journey, because there's so many differences, because there's elements of both that I really like. And then that's the thing, is it's really, there's pros and cons on both sides for me. So it's almost impossible to determine which I like more.
That's a cop-out answer.
Oh, come on, man.
Which one did you read or watch first?
I watched the movie first.
All right. And then you read the book and you're like, all right, this is just as good.
I read the book and I was like, this is amazing.
Okay.
Wow.
I have to let it be known that I did not finish the last chapter of Howl's Moving Castle.
So what are you... I have the book right here.
Oh, you're going to read it?
I'm not going to read it. No,
you're going to read the last chapter out loud?
loud.
And I heard it on audiobook. I think that's going to be very important to how I enjoyed the book. So, yeah, I read it first and then I watched the movie second.
You missed... Oh, dude, you're missing quite a bit.
Well, there's more I got to reveal.
Okay.
I'm just going to wait. Once we get into it, are you going to set up where we're going with this? Because I'll reveal it in a bit.
We should talk about the movie more. We're a movie podcast before we get into it.
Okay.
We are, yeah. I don't know if you knew that.
No, not really. We have no indication that we are.
So this is Hayao Miyazaki's work. Actually, another director was slated to take over and do this whole thing, but he dropped out very early in production. And Miyazaki was just going to produce this film as executive producer. However, he read the book. He had done a lot of the concept work, and he was so hands-on already with the art that when this director dropped out, he was like, okay, I'm going to do it myself. So that is something that I think also adds to why I like the movie a lot. I'm going to be very transparent. I feel like if anybody else did this movie, I would say the book is better than the movie, hands down. But the fact that also Miyazaki does his thing in this film is what also makes me really like it.
You wouldn't trust Pixar with this?
Oh, no.
They'll never do an adaptation.
No, they wouldn't, yeah, but not today's Pixar. If it was maybe your Toy Stories Pixar, maybe.
You wouldn't trust Illumination with this?
No, I wouldn't. Are you kidding me?
I'll ask you after we see Mario.
Well, you know, with Mario, it's because Nintendo is like wanting to be super hands-on.
Yeah.
It even says Illumination and Nintendo.
I don't know what other animation studio could do this.
I feel like DreamWorks, early DreamWorks, maybe could have done this.
Hmm.
Like Prince of Egypt era could have done this.
Hmm. Okay.
But Hayao Miyazaki just did a really. I've talked about so much how. Also, by the way, everybody, just preface this episode might just be a lot of me talking because this is my comfort movie. I think we mentioned School of Rock was yours, Tone, the one that you can just put it on at any point and then
That's
you'll
right.
just keep watching it. And for me, that's Howl's Moving Castle. I can just put it on. A lot of times, I remember when I was working and when I was in school, I would come home from night class and I would be too tired to give anything my full attention. You know, like whenever you when you want to watch something that's brand new on YouTube or Netflix or whatever, but you know you're tired, so you're not going to really take it in or appreciate it. So you put on something that you're familiar with just to kind of doze off. That was Howl's Moving Castle for me. And I would just put it on and let it play, and then I would knock out and I would wake up and I'd be like, "Oh, okay, it's this scene." And just keep going. That like this is my comfort movie.
You let it play into your dreams every night.
I do, yeah. My default humming sound is the
That's your elevator music in your mind.
that is, yeah. If you were to do the what's going on inside her head, it's that.
I believe it. All right, so let's start hearing it. I want you to get it all out.
The art of the movie is beautiful. Every frame is a painting. There's
How many
mixtures.
wallpapers did we see in this movie?
So, if I was to show you my wallpaper folder, 60% of it is from shots of this film, is just screenshots of this movie. I even there's a website where you can download like 4K screenshots from Ghibli films. I have it bookmarked on my Chrome internet browser. And whenever I get like when I got my iPad, I was like, all right, gotta go there, gotta download my House Moving Castle wallpapers, all of that.
One for every device. One unique wallpaper for every device you own.
For real. I think on my iPhone I have 4 wallpaper presets of just House Moving Castle. It's just this is a big one for me. This is a fave. And there's so much to love about it, from the art to how it blends in those 2D elements of like painting. It really looks like a painting in the background is coming to life. And then you have the 3D elements kind of mixing in with the castle as it moves and as it's making its noises and everything. All the components that work together in unison when you see the castle walk. Then you just have like the expressions on the characters. Sometimes little things are conveyed just by their eyes widening or their faces just being focused on. Is oh, it's perfect. Add in the music and the story, and it's just chef's kiss. It's so good.
All right, so let me give you some prompts because I have
Okay.
questions about this.
Yeah, yeah, hit me.
All right. What is the movie and the book? What is it about to you?
For the movie gives a lot of different, I feel like, messages. It wants to convey inner strength with Sophie, but then it also wants to convey an anti war message that's just kind of Miyazaki's bread and butter. He loves putting that in so many of his works, the anti war message. And I even think that he did change the meaning a little bit because in the book, it's clearly just about Sophie going on this adventure of her own. I think I remember reading somewhere, I feel like it was a Goodreads review, but somebody mentioned that the book is like taking traditional character types and flipping it on their heads and watching a story play out about that. So you're watching an old woman be the focus instead of like a traditional, young protagonist. You're seeing a young man, which is Michael, actually be the responsible one and the caretaker and things like that. And the demon is actually nice and helpful and yada yada. So like the book has its own kind of what's it about going forward. And then the movie has all these other different kinds of messages mixed in. But I think if you have to boil down both of them, it's really the core of it is Sophie. And it's really just about her learning to love herself and have confidence in herself.
Okay, and you think it's the same for the book or slightly different?
I think it is the same for the book because in the book, she goes on, yes, the components are different, but the end result is almost the same. The only difference is that in the book, Sophie has magic, and in the movie, she doesn't. But the end result, where she's proud of herself and in essence breaks her own curse, is still the same.
Oh wait, yeah, I missed that in the movie. It's not confirmed that she has magic in the movie.
It's not, yeah. She has, at least like to what we see in the movie, she has no magic. Because in the
But
book,
she does bring the scarecrow to life.
yeah, she does. But the movie writes it off as that it was true love's kiss, which is a little weird
No,
because
she gives the scarecrow like an inanimate object life to hop around.
I think in the book, the scarecrow already had life because it was also sewn. Oh, wait, no. Was that the dog
No,
man?
she
That's
spoke
right.
life into it.
That's
She
right.
spoke to it like a real person, and then it gave it life.
Yeah, I'm forgetting the dog because they combined in the movie, they combined Turnip Head with the dog man in the book.
Right.
So yeah, you're right. She did the scarecrow is just a thing.
So she is a witch, or she does have power.
Yeah, in the book, yeah.
And in the movie, she has power at least.
Yeah, it's never inherently said, but yeah, there's a lot to imply. Even her being able to give Calcifer, like to put Hal's heart back in, means she has some.
Yeah, I think that it was a build up to that.
Mm-hmm. Speaking life into the scarecrow is what kind of foreshadows her being able to speak the heart back to life with Howl in the book. Whereas in the movie, we don't really get that kind of connection.
That was one of the first things that I noticed. The scarecrow is immediately part of their adventure. You get to see him a lot more in the movie than you do in the book.
Mm-hmm.
In the book, it comes as a surprise that it's still alive. Or, yeah, the first time they see it, it just comes, visits the castle, and they don't know that it has life.
And she's so scared that what she almost like has a heart attack and they have to
Yeah,
calm her down, which is a really sweet scene in the book.
that's one of the things I'll say first that I like. I like that the book did better because it's supposed to be the reveal that she has this power, and we don't know yet. And you get the same reveal in the movie, but seeing the scarecrow all the time, I don't. I think it adds to the. This is the big difference that I think is between the movie and the book. I think the movie is more kid friendly,
Yeah, probably.
and the book is a little bit more mature because the characters are more mature and a little bit more serious.
The characters are so that's like one of the pros that the book has is that each character is so funny and so well fleshed out. And in the movie, sometimes when you look at it, the characters kind of fall flat. Like,
What?
oh,
Are you sure you said that the right way?
yeah, I did because if Howl in the book is so much cooler than Howl in the movie, and I love Howl in the movie, but Howl in
Oh
the book is
yeah.
like, what was that?
I'm not a fan of Howl, to be honest.
Either.
In either the book or the movie, yeah.
Everybody, thank you so much for listening
It
to
was a
this
good one,
week's
guys.
episode of
Tune in next week.
to our last episode of Elmore
Oh man,
We only went for 60. You
we didn't
know,
even do Mario.
it was a good run, but all good things must come to an
I'm
end.
glad we ended on an even number. I'm okay with that.
All right, no, 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 no. Tell me why?
I'll give him one trait that I like about him. That I like about him a
Okay.
lot.
Uh-huh.
Actually, and this is only in the movie. I noticed. I like that he's very calm and well, except for the scene where
His
he
hair.
dyed his hair the wrong color and then he becomes a drama queen. But a lot of moments where Sophie's just in the house for the first time, he's like, "Huh, Calcifer, you're listening to somebody else. Okay." Like doesn't even question that there's a stranger. And then when the Witch of the Waste is smoking it up in his castle, and then he's like, huh, did you get this from
Madam Solomon.
yeah. And he should be upset. He's like, you kind of screwed us over. You let them find us. But no, he's like, oh, did you get this from her? Okay. Very cool about a lot of things. But yeah, then there's just everything else is just like uh... How do I
And does
put it
that
into words? His voice is annoying in the movie.
his Christian Bale voice tone. Everybody, thank you so much for
Thanks for
listening to
60 episodes. It's been an
Wait,
honor.
really? You think his Christian Bale voice is annoying?
He's just an emo kid. That's all he is. He's
I have
just
a
an emo kid. Yeah,
I
go
have a
ahead.
pit stop fun fact while we're on this.
Okay.
Christian Bale watched Princess Mononoke. I hope I said that with enough no's, but Princess
Mono, no, yeah.
Mononoke. Mononoke?
You got it right the first time.
Either way, Christian Bale saw that movie in theaters and he loved it so much that he contacted, Ratzenberg and just the team that does the dub and says, I want to be part of the next project. So just include me. I want in. And so Howl's Moving Castle was coming up for the dub. And when he auditioned, they immediately gave him the starring role. He didn't even know he was going to have the starring role. He was just happy to get a call back. So when he showed up and they said, oh, yeah, you're going to play the main character, it was during, he was already slated to be Batman in Batman Begins.
Nice.
So he said, I can't remember in which interview. I wish I had like my notes pulled up or like my sources from those notes pulled up. But he stated that the growly voice you hear when he's the monster in like the den in Sophie's dream, that was him preparing for the Batman voice that he would eventually do.
He was bracing his throat for what's to come.
Yeah, he was practicing and he was like, oh, that sounds good. I'll switch that over. I'll bring that to my next project.
I'll use that. That sounds pretty good.
Where is she? Swear to me.
That's pretty good.
So that's like pit stop, fun fact right there. So Christian Bale didn't do it for you, huh?
No. But now I get it. I get why you like this movie. Because he sounds like...
I don't like the way you said that. I get what you like this movie.
Yeah. He sounds like how you want boys to sound. Like Adam Carlson and very emo,
whoa.
Completely get it now. When he said his first line, I'm like, yeah, okay.
No.
Are these guys bothering you? Follow me.
That is such like a difference. Already, they're already showing the difference between the two Howls because in the movie, he's rescuing her from these two guys that are hitting on her. In the book, he's the one hitting on her. When she goes to visit her sister and somebody says like, oh, do you want to have tea with me or whatever in the book? I don't know if you remember that, but that's Howl.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, but I don't remember him flirting with Sophie. I thought it was his sister.
No. In the book, she's on the way to her sister and he bumps into her and says like, oh, like, what's a pretty little mouse like you doing here? Would you like to have tea with me? And she's like, no, I need to go see my sister.
This is before she gets old?
This is before she gets old.
Oh, I don't remember that. Or I guess I didn't put it together.
This is in chapter. Here I am pulling out my book.
I hear the pages turning. Easy there.
I have a lot bookmarked and highlighted. I need to preface everybody. I read this book all the time. This is like a comfy, just like this is a comfortable read for me, like a comfortable movie for me. This is a comfortable read for me.
All right, so what chapter, what verse are we looking up?
We're looking at chapter 1, verse 12.
And Howl said, "How you doing, girl?"
It's when she's gonna go see her sister on May Day, and somebody like stops her. Oh, if I had my Kindle, I could do a keyword search. But yeah, like he's the one, and I think it's because it's in the last chapter where he tells her, because that's when she finally breaks her curse and she's normal again, and she doesn't have silver hair.
She's not old.
She's at her default age. You know what I mean. And he tells her, like, oh, so you were the girl I met on May Day. Why were you so scared of me then? And like she fires back at him or whatever. But that's already like the difference that the movie is trying to set already, is that this is a different Howl already in the way that they have different approaches. They're definitely trying to make him more of the emo saver boy than the flirty one that he typically is in the book.
Yeah, that's another thing. Hal's gonna be the centerpiece, I think, of this because I have more questions about him.
Okay.
So, yeah, in the book, he gets angrier. Like he kind of expresses himself more.
They give him that Welsh accent in the audiobook that
Yeah,
I'm a fan of. I like that because it helps me differentiate who's who.
yeah. But I wanted to ask you, in the book, he's more of a playboy.
Oh, yeah.
He's like a wizard Iron Man. And
Hmm.
then in the movie, he's like a loner emo kid. And when he flies off and does who knows what, in the book, we can assume he's scoring chicks. And then in the movie, I have no idea what he's doing. Why is he leaving so much?
In the movie, it's supposed to be implied that he's scouting and trying to take out both sides of this war. Like he's going to go and destroy airships from no matter whose kingdom.
All right, yeah, we did see him do that one time. He was
Now,
taking out
this,
planes in bird mode.
I don't want to cut off your train of thought too much, but I do want to ask you this, and then depending on your answer will be depending on how where I go in this train of thought. Who do you like the least, movie or book? Howl?
Oh, movie.
You like him the least?
Yeah, the least, yeah.
Okay, well, I have some news for you.
Uh-oh.
Hayao Miyazaki read the book and decided that he didn't like Howl, and that's why he changed him to what he is in the movie. He thought that if he made a movie about a playboy, charismatic, emotional, over emotional Welshman, that nobody would like him because he didn't like him. So that's why they changed him a lot in the movie.
I feel like there was more reason for Sophie to like him in the book than in the movie.
The book is so smartly done in the romance because the romance doesn't really come, like, you don't see it, I think, until you read it again, and then you're able to see it more
I barely
when.
saw it for, yeah, the viewing and the reading.
So the reading is supposed to be that's a choice, a narrative choice, because the whole point is that Sophie is so oblivious to romance or of any kind of love that comes her way. So when it does finally hit her, it comes at her out of nowhere. So it's not until she realizes that she's in love with Hal, but then she never sees that he's actually been kind of liking her the whole time until the very end. And it's like, oh, wait, he likes me back. And then that's why it kind of comes out of nowhere in the book, because that's how she feels. In the movie, I feel like they really try to romanticize it from the very beginning. Obviously, from when they're walking in the air and everything. They're trying to let you know, okay, yeah, this is a romance. We want to let you know that these two, they're going to be a thing at some point.
I just didn't get it though. This is probably just a me thing, but in the movie I thought like, why do you like him? Cuz he could fly? Cuz he gave no other traits to me.
Now, this is, we're going to touch on, and I don't want to ruin this movie too much for myself, but I do agree with you in that regard, because in the book, I get it, where they both
Explain
have
it in the
flaws.
book, yeah.
In the book, they both have flaws, but I get why she eventually falls in love with him and he eventually falls in love with her.
Why does she fall in love with him?
In the book,
Yeah.
it's just kind of like I don't want to say it's a proximity thing, but that does come into play. But it's also like
Just cuz he's the closest guy.
the moments that he does care about her, like there's a lot of times where he's really considerate to her, and he even like before we started recording today, I was listening to the audiobook. I was on chapter like 8 or 9, but obviously of like my 20th reread. And it was the part where he's trying to comfort, oh no, I'm sorry, chapter 7, and that's where he's trying to comfort her bones, of like, or trying to take away her aches and her pains because she's getting a lot of joint pain. And even like the parts where he's just really considerate towards her. And the ultimate scene is whenever he goes and rescues her and he's a mess, because they state in the book so many times he spends so many hours getting himself primed and ready and good looking, and he'll never let himself be seen a mess. And so it's just the way he shows his care towards her is very sweet, and I feel a little bit more realistic. And in the movie, it's almost like they're just telling us oh, they're in love, they're in love, they're in love. Or it's like all of a sudden she's kind of it's really a switch because you see her complain about him so often, and then it's not until they get to the castle and it's like, oh, you're in love with him. And I'm talking about the palace when she meets the king or Madame Sullivan.
Right.
And that's where it's like, oh, I get it, you're in love with him. And I'm like, when? You were just complaining about
Why?
him
That's what I was asking.
on the
Why?
you were just complaining about him on the walk over.
Yeah, the entire movie. Why? What has he done?
I get why he likes her. She's a catch. Sophie's the best thing that ever happened to him. But I'm like, Sophie,
But
how?
in what way? Because she's an old lady that cleans his house?
It's a lot of things. She puts up with him. She cleans his house. She's patient.
Man, anyone who puts up with me, I gotta put a ring on that, and he does.
Isn't that how it is?
I gotta put a demonic ring on that.
Oh my god.
Make
I got
sure I always lead her to me.
I got to make a deal with a demon and put a ring on that.
An unholy matrimony.
I got to catch a falling star and put a ring on that.
Oh boy. All right. In the book, I thought it didn't come together all perfectly, but in my mind, I thought, all right, he's like this playboy, and he has to settle down with somebody eventually. And
Eventually.
the outward appearance is that, yeah, he's like this heartbreaker, woman slayer guy. I don't know how he gets that reputation, honestly. Maybe word just gets around and he just never debunks it. But that's how Sophie knows him too. Like, he just breaks women's hearts. He chases women.
In the book, it's so smart because he doesn't have a heart. Calcifer is his heart.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, that's the two things I was gonna bring up is Calcifer and Michael. And those are the two ways that he demonstrates that he's a caring and loving guy. And the things that he does that show any type of love or emotion after he's given his heart away is enough for Sophie to realize, like, oh, he's secretly a pretty good guy.
And also that he has like a sister and a family in Wales, which is our real world Wales.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's
I
like the
forgot to
big
go visit him, right?
the movie like totally cuts that out. That there's even like a real world.
They cut out his family and they cut out the sisters.
He has a sister, right?
Well, also Sophie's sisters, I'm saying. They cut
That's
them
yeah.
out too.
They cut off one because she has Letty, but she
Oh,
has Letty and Martha
yeah.
in the book. But they cut off like his whole Welsh side. And that's another thing that like has Sophie realize that he's caring and actually wants to protect the people that he loves and stuff is the fact that he keeps the Welsh door a secret and Michael and Calcifer. But I'm trying to remember where I'm like looking through the book and I shouldn't. I should have like had this ready
The
ahead of time.
reference, you got to make sure your sources are correct.
Yeah, for real. It's like this is the Bible, and I'm like, all right, in
Yeah.
Hebrews
I don't want to
1.
misquote the Howl's Moving
I don't
Castle.
want to misquote Diana Wynne Jones. But either way, I had read somewhere, either it was in a conversation with a friend or something, that the womanizer part makes sense in the book because he doesn't have a heart, and so it's almost like he's always trying to like fill that void in himself with love from another, and he likes the chase, and once that chase is no longer there, he gets bored of it and leaves and goes on to the next girl. And I feel like that would have been something really compelling in the movie, but Hayao Miyazaki didn't like that, so he just cut that off.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty cool part in the book too. And I like that. I like the way it tied into the witch. And maybe I'm just making it a different story than what it was, but I like that she couldn't get over Howl, and she was like the main through line, the main villain, if you want to say. And then in the
Yeah,
movie, she became,
she's like sidelined
yeah, so bad. Like, she
big
just
time.
becomes a senile,
That is
useless witch.
the one thing I don't want to say the one thing, but that is something that I really hate that the movie does. I really don't like that she sticks around.
Felt really weird.
It's really weird, and I don't know why. I feel like it's Miyazaki's. If I'm to like, I have my two fingers to my temples. if I'm to try to read the brain, the mind of Miyazaki
Of Miyazaki.
when he was writing this film, I feel like the point of it is to like forgive and to make peace with your enemies and to coexist. I feel like that's something a Miyazaki thing would do because he's very big into pacifism, and I get that, but at some point he changed the story so much.
I think you're right on that, and I like that. I like the moments that they had of near the end when Sophie said, "Can you give me the heart back?" And then she thanks her, gives her a kiss. I like that.
It's so sweet, but you take away the main villain.
Yeah, I like that she was the main villain. I like that that was the villain story. Nothing more than that. Just like, hey, I'm an angry ex, and I want to get back at the boy who broke my heart.
And even because in the end, she's the main villain, but it's really the demon that like she made the contract with that is the main villain. That's like the true villain.
Who's that?
Miss Angorian, the teacher
Oh
that
yeah,
Howl's like Sophie
that
thought
taught
that.
Howl, right?
Yeah, no. That's Mrs. Pentstemon.
Oh yeah.
Mrs. Pentstemon is the one that taught Howl, who died, and then he goes to her funeral wearing the black suit.
I guess now's a good time to say that I was very confused with the book and the movie.
Okay.
When I made it to chapter 9, I'm like, hold on. I need to see where this is going, and I had to read a summary of the whole book before I kept going, so I can have a context of like what's the big idea here. That's why I asked you in the beginning, like, what do you think these stories are about? Because I didn't know where it was going, and then when I read the summary, I'm like, dang, all these people who are other people who turn into other people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what? I'm glad I read this, so it was a little less confusing when I went back and heard the audiobook in
I'm
full.
glad you read it too, because
Yeah.
the book itself is very, I don't want to say convoluted, but it's got a lot of plot lines and a lot of
Yeah.
characters to keep.
Oh man, the whole sister thing.
Oh yeah, Martha is Letty and Letty is Martha. They switch places.
Yeah. And everyone is just everyone else. Somebody's cursed by somebody.
Yeah, because then there's Justin, the prince, and then there's Wizard Solomon,
Yeah.
and both of them go missing. So
Yes.
there's a lot. There's a lot in here. The movie does do a good job of consolidating characters. They are obviously like, and don't get me wrong, it's almost impossible to make a perfect adaptation of a book, except for like Lord of the Rings. But
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
like in this instance where you're trying to consolidate this book into one film, yeah, I'm expecting changes, and I'm even okay with them cutting out the sister and Solomon, and a lot of these like the dog man and stuff like that. I'm okay with that. I even like that the scarecrow was the prince. That's a really nice little like abridged thing that you could do for the
I
film.
don't like that he became a prince with true love's kiss and it's not even true
That's
love.
so weird because it's like
Nah, yeah, that's a
that the
mistake.
point of the movie is for Howl and Sophie to get together. So what's this thing with true love's kiss?
That felt like a very last minute, like, whatever, we'll just have Sophie kiss him and he comes back.
If they would have just given her magic from the beginning, because even in the book, her magic is not like Howl's. It's just like the power of the tongue kind of thing, where it's like she speaks it and bam, it'll happen.
Yeah.
So all she had to do, and if you were to just kind of bring a little bit of that in the movie, whether it's her talking, I like the first chapter is just her talking to the hats, where she's like saying, "Oh, you're gonna be like you're gonna catch a rich husband, or you're gonna be the talk of the town," and then that happened. Little things, and you could just have little things like that happen in the movie, and then at the very end, she's like, "I don't know, you're not a turnip anymore," something like that. But
Yeah, but her
true
first
love's
her initial
kiss.
conversation brought the scarecrow to life. So I
Mhm.
don't know if how they would have to explain that she talks to him again and then he gets more life, he becomes a human.
Or in this one, it would just be that she breaks his curse. Because if you're going to keep the storyline, it's that he's cursed.
Yeah, somebody else should have fallen in love with him, or it should have
It
not have been true love's
should
kiss.
not have been True Love's kiss. That opens set up a door that's like, wait, but she's in love with Hal.
Yeah, her heart belongs to another. And just barely at that. I don't know why, but
Oh, come on, Tony. He's Christian Bale with that black hair of his and the growly
come
voice. Mm.
on.
Also, he's not a player in the movie, so I think that that's why he's more a little more desirable because he's not a player in the movie.
But they did bring up that he eats the heart of women or something in the beginning.
Yeah, that's another thing they don't commit to because in the movie, that's I'm sorry, in the book, he says that that's him trying to like blacken his name. He's trying to slander himself.
Yeah.
So that way they don't go to him for spells and like they don't consider him trustworthy, so he has less work to do. And in the movie, it's just kind of a thing. It's like, oh yeah, he eats girls' hearts. He only goes after pretty girls.
You don't have to worry. He only goes after pretty girl.
I was like,
I thought they
ooh.
meant it like figuratively, like he just crushes women's hearts.
I think that that's how the rumor started at first, and then you play that game of telephone, and it's like,
Yeah. And
oh,
then
the
it becomes
wizard
a real
eats
thing.
her heart
Yeah.
because she never brings that up to Howl at all in the movie. She's never like he eats my heart or whatever.
But then in the book it gets confusing because then who is it that shows up? They start showing up to the castle.
So many people show up to the castle.
Yeah, man, I got so confused.
The last cut, like 2 chapters, is just a reunion of every character
I
showing
got
up to
so
the castle.
confused. And
I
that's
think like
basically where she says Howell is not that type of guy. I've never seen him do evil witchcraft,
I think it's her
whatever.
mom, her stepmom that
Her
shows
mom is
up,
there. Yeah, her stepmom is there.
and then her sisters show up, and then the wizard Solomon shows up, and then the prince shows up, and then the fire demon shows
Yeah.
up. It's a whole hullabaloo in the book. Every character is coming back.
I also gotta say, I like the description of the castle better in the book than in the movie.
You know what? That castle got like a redesign. Let me do see if I can find it.
I thought it was more mystical and magical to imagine it as a real like black brick castle that just floats.
So here's the original cover of the book.
Oh,
You see that castle in the distance?
yeah,
So that's how it's described. And it's for our audio listeners, it is how Tony is describing. Think of a traditional castle and it's just floating. That was
that's cool.
the original thing. And then the cover of this book, and this is what my book looks like, got a redesign because of the Miyazaki film, because of this film. And so that's why now
Oh,
it looks something like this. And that is what my book looks like. So that's kind of the updated current version of how the castle looks.
and then if you look at the cover of the audiobook,
Oh yeah, yeah. It looks like a traditional. I have that here. Right? That's
yep,
it.
that's
Mhm.
yeah, that's what I see.
Fun fact, the original cover that I sent you, I had that book originally and my mom saw it and threw it away.
Whoa! Well, I can tell why that demon in the left.
But
Is
I
that
can't
Calcifer?
yeah, that is Calcifer.
He looks so creepy.
You love it.
I love it.
He's so ugly. I love it.
But yeah, this is exactly why, because even the title sounds so interesting. Howl's Moving Castle. It's like a moving castle. That's interesting. And then
Yeah.
I picture it like this: the first original image is like, wow, a castle that floats through the air, and you don't know where it stays or where it'll be tomorrow. But then when you see the castle in the movie, it's like, oh, a steampunk machine. Okay, yeah, that thing moves. It's built to move.
It's built to move. Yeah, with the legs and the way it's like going like
So it's
all
not
that.
mystical anymore. It's just like, all right, that's the intention. It's gonna move.
Yeah. A fun fact on that too, the animators for Coco saw the castle, the Hayao Miyazaki castle, and that's how they designed the Land of the Dead. Was just kind of looking like all these parts fitting together.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I thought of it like they're going for steampunk. Well, in Howl's Moving Castle, like the
Yeah,
castle looked like steampunk.
exactly. Yeah, they are technically going for steampunk.
Yeah.
But yeah, that design, that Miyazaki, and that is like the first of the concept art. When he was sitting down and trying to figure out what was his next project, it was right after reading this book, and he drew his concept for the castle, and that's what it came out to be. He wanted the big mouth and like a little bit of a face in it, the feet, the chicken feet.
It's very unique.
It's very unique. There's a on Amazon, there's like a not a Lego, but like the Lego equivalent blocks
Like a
set
block?
of kind of. It's not even mega blocks, but it's like you could make that castle out of not Legos, and I want it
Oh,
so bad.
it's still available?
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
Oh, okay. Is it worth it if it's not Lego?
Yeah, I just want it. I want the castle.
Oh, okay. Does it look good? Because there's a lot of parts to the castle.
I'll find it and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
But while I'm searching, what do you think of Michael and Markle? And who do you like better?
All right. I'll tell you right off the bat. My first impression of Markle and Calcifer in the movie did not like him.
Really?
Yeah, I liked them in the book better, but then a few more minutes in, and they were making me laugh, and I liked them better.
It was that beard. I just
What's the
know it
beard? Once
was.
he grew out the beard, I'm like, oh snap, I want that.
Even his take care, child.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
like
Howl isn't home.
I don't like potatoes. I don't like fish.
Yeah, like you heard me. We were watching. I'm like, wait, that's Michael.
No,
Uh, and then it's like, what? The Calcifer is
it's
a
cute.
cute, yeah, a cute little funny
Fire.
thing.
Yeah. He's also Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal, yeah.
Mike Wazowski wormed his way into this
That
film.
is not a coincidence. I think
Mm,
it worked out perfectly.
no such thing as a coincidence.
Yeah,
Calcifer is
but
so funny.
I was won over by both of them. I was very happy to
they
see them both.
they really are a huge part of why I love this movie is because I think without them, if it and all my love goes to Howl and Sophie. They're obviously my forefront. I have photos and everything of them. They're great, but the heart is shown through Calcifer and Michael or Markle, depending on the version, because they're the ones that Sophie has the most interactions with, and you can see how they are caretakers and to be taken care of. They're such underrated great characters.
Yeah,
And
that's true. And I think they sold the family aspect better in the movie.
yeah, they do because in the book it's a little bit hard to feel the family dynamic when Michael is already a young teenager. He's already leaving to go and court another girl and he's coming back and stuff like that. Whereas when he's a kid, it feels more homely. Like, okay, you got to take care of him.
Yeah,
He's
grandma and grandson.
yeah. Also, the fact that I find it so much funnier that Howl just kind of leaves him alone when he's a kid. He's just like, "Oh yeah, here's some bread and cheese for
Yeah,
you."
completely unattended.
Completely unattended.
Yeah, Howl. Yeah, he's just so not there.
I wish he was there more. I wish I got more of him.
That bothers me, and I don't know how to explain it, but it bothers me. And you mentioned it earlier, but like Lord of the Rings, I don't like when Gandalf just goes away. Like, are you here or are you not? That's what I don't like. If
That's the
you're gonna
same thing.
go, then
These
stay away.
wizards always
Yeah, I don't
disappearing.
like these flaky wizards.
A wizard is never late. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Uh, I mean, I like Gandalf though, but
All
how I
right,
don't know.
keep your secrets. Hal in the movie is definitely more heroic, but Hal in the book is so endearing. I love that he's so prone to outbursts and he's emotional and even now don't get me wrong. If you were to ask me who I'd want in real life, it would be the movie because
I know you already. Yes,
I
I
can't
know.
stand players.
He's your
Like,
emo
oh,
prince.
he is. He really is. But in the book, he's so endearing. I love it.
But isn't that what every woman wants? The one who can make the bad boy, his good boy.
Are we talking about the book or the movie?
The book.
Okay, yeah, because the movie, he's not a bad boy, but
Yeah.
he's got a curse, and you want to. It's that nurture mentality. You want to fix him. I can
He's
fix
kind of
him.
like a Machine Gun Kelly, in the
Oh
movie.
no! Now you've ruined him for me. Oh,
I wanted to
ew.
ruin it for you.
Yeah, you did successfully. Oh,
He
all
could
right.
definitely lead a emo punk
How
band. Howl.
I mean, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
He plays the guitar in the book, which is something that I wish they brought out in the movie. He's not silly enough in the movie. In the book, he's so funny and silly. He's got personality. And you're right, in the movie, he is, like, brooding-ish, and
Yeah, you're
he's very
right.
he's very aloof.
Yeah, you're right. That's something I didn't really notice, but he is more of a character in the book. He does show more emotion and he does strange. He's like eccentric and weird and in a good way. And then yeah, in the movie he's just like, Sophie, what do you see in this guy? He just flies. He becomes a bird.
And that's something that and I wanna keep prefacing this because I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I love the movie. I love a lot of things about the movie, but when I stop and think about it, it stops being romanticized in my head. Because in the book, I love even that they argue. There's time in the book to when they're just having a spat with each other, even like when she goes to clean his room and he's like, "Oh no, no, you're not allowed to go into my room." And just having interactions like that periodically throughout the book. She cuts up his suit and she loses her temper with him and he's just kind of taking it. He's like, "Okay, all right, yeah, this is the suit I'm wearing or whatever." Like we have scenes like that where you see even when they're fighting, there's a little bit of chemistry. And in the movie, it's just kind of like little moments here or there of her kind of stargazing at him because he's handsome and him caring for her. He doesn't really show that he cares for her until after he has his emotional outburst and he asks her to go be his mom to the king.
Right.
That's where we start seeing him kind of leaning into it, but not enough. I feel like Haku and Chihiro in Spirited Away had more chemistry, and even that came a little bit like, "Oh, they're in love," and it's like, "Okay, all right," and they keep telling us they're in love. Whereas in this one, which is supposed to be a romance, already they're trying to tell us it's a romance. It still feels like they're just trying to force that mindset into us because they don't interact enough. And in the book, we have a lot of interactions, and in the movie, we don't have enough. And that's just what I could go on forever.
Going. Keep
No.
going.
Nah. I just wish they had more interaction because I love one of the things I love about the book is how they banter. I love that they fight. I think that that's so cute and that's something that you don't really see in a lot of romances when they fight. And it's a healthy fighting. It's one thing when you're actually fighting and and it becomes disruptive and you're like, "Oh, mom, dad, please stop fighting." But in this one it's really just like both of them bickering, but it's all in love. And then later on, at least for me, when I reread it, it's like, "Oh, y'all are so cute. Y'all already fighting like a married couple." And in the book, in the movie, we don't even. I was to prepare for this episode while I was waiting. I was looking up YouTube videos and just kind of little here and there's like, oh, House Moving Castle analysis is just little things to at least keep it on the brain before we recorded. And I found a video on YouTube called the Howl Scene Pack. So that's like for people like editors, and it's just every time Howl is on screen. And it's called Howl's Moving Castle, but his screen time solely for him amounted to 3 minutes
What?
of a 2-hour film.
Oh my gosh.
And that when I really saw that and I took in that screen time, I was it threw me off a little bit. I was like, no way. There's no way he's in it for that little. And yeah, like this scene pack kind of video showed me that he's not in it for that long. It's his movie, but he's barely in it.
Well, I guess it's a little bit of a compliment because he definitely steals a show when he's on screen.
He does, but imagine if he was there more.
But I agree with you. Your comparisons with the book and the movie because the movie had the time to show that of them spending more time together and the bickering and the talking and whatever. It had the time to do that. It just didn't. 2 hours, you could fit in more moments
I
of
could name
building a little bit of romance.
so many scenes that you could have cut to put that
All the
in
war
there.
scenes. Don't make it a war
All the wars,
subplot.
or like you could have the war subplot, but it really dominates the film. when you dedicate so many scenes to the war and even the Witch of the Waste. Oh my god. That whole, like I told you, that
That
whole
she
scene of
becomes,
of
yeah,
them going up the
useless.
stairs. Them going why are we
No, that was
dedicating,
funny. We needed that.
but it's like you could shorten it and actually put Howl in the movie. You could even like the scenes where she's feeding the Witch of the Waste breakfast and she's like, "What a pretty fire." We could have actually seen them interact. We could have
Those
cut
scenes we could
that
take out.
down.
Like, take out all the scenes where she becomes part of the family. Nah, just leave her. But her running up the stairs, we got to keep that. That's essential.
We can have 2 scenes of that maybe, 2 at max, but put
The
Howl in
running
the
up the
movie.
stairs.
No, 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 I'm talking about her caretaking, like, okay, yeah, show her tucking her in bed, feeding her once, and then put Howl in the movie,
But
please.
how many scenes do we need of her smoking a cigar?
How many scenes do we need of her, period? Why is this the Witch of the Waste film and not Howl in Howl's Moving Castle?
I don't know.
That's my, like, this is what I mean, like, I love this film, but when I stop and think about it, it gets me disillusioned.
I was gonna tell you that. All right, you know how I am with like romance movies and stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't like them very much. It's got
Yeah.
to be pretty good for me to like. But I knew that going in, or actually, I thought in my mind like, okay, this is gonna be a romance or primarily romance. But when I was listening to the audiobook, the first thing I do when I watch a romance, I want to scoff at it and be like, all right, who's gonna fall in love with who? Oh, there you go. All right, get together already. Why don't
This
you?
is our couple. Just do it. Just
Yeah,
go
let's
ahead.
just get it over with. That's how I feel pretty much.
Mhm.
And then listening to this audiobook, I thought, wait, who is she gonna fall in love with? And then I was telling you when I was probably up to like chapter 4 or 5, I was like, I don't even know who she's supposed to fall in love with. Is it Michael? Because Michael's probably like 18, and then Sophie, I don't know, she's supposed to be
She's
18 or
eight
20. I don't
she's
know.
18, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so that would have been okay, like when she reverts back to being young, maybe they fall in love together. Like, or wait, is it Calcifer? Because they're like building a relationship now. Is she gonna like undemonify him, like exercise him, and like,
Angelify him.
yeah, make him a pure spirit? Maybe. I never even thought how. And then after we are getting like deeper in the story, still never thought how because he was never there mostly. And once I read the summary, it's like, what? They end up together? I'm like, how? How? Why?
How Howl?
How? Sophie?
How does Howl howl at the moon?
And then I started, all right, I started noticing the moments. It's fine. But I just did not get it at the beginning that was going to be a thing. And then obviously watching the movie, I knew what to expect. But yeah, I didn't see. This is what I nitpick in most romances. Like, why are you guys falling for each other? Is it just because you like the way he looks or she looks, and that's it? In this movie, it was kind of that. I mean, I know it's kind of romantic to walk on air with demon powers, but then past that, he didn't do anything. He just dyed his hair the wrong color, and then he went into a emo depression, and then he became a green goo. And Sophie likes that.
And then he cut his hair into a black bob, and
Yeah.
then bam, pretty boy,
And
achieved.
new hair, new me. So he
Howl
he felt good about
is
himself.
like the heartthrob of the Ghibli boys too, and that's something to
Oh
take
my
in.
gosh.
He's the heartthrob.
There's not that many. Well, I haven't seen all the movies yet, but I guess there's slim pickings.
I follow a lot of artists. I have a lot of Ghibli fan friends, and Howl is the heartthrob. He's the heartthrob of the Ghibli people.
Who could compete? He's probably heartthrob by default because there's not even other people to
There's
compete with.
a oh, you haven't seen them. Like there's other guys in other movies. But like Ashitaka from Mononoke is one. There's like Seiji Yamazawa in Whisper of the Heart. There's a lot. There's a couple other. You haven't seen them all yet, but there's other
We'll
guys.
get to it. Okay. All right.
In this Ghibli journey, you'll see it. But Howl is consistently number 1 in the boys.
Oh, why?
Tony,
How, ladies? Why?
I'll tell you how.
Yeah, you speak for them. Speak for the Howl ladies. Why?
This is really hard and really embarrassing, especially after I just criticized movie Howl in comparison to book Howl. But I gotta defend my boy also.
All
I
right, let's
am a
hear it.
fan of this. You know, number one, and I'm gonna boil it down to this, and I don't want to do any of my girls or Howl fans injustice, but we just love that Christian Bale voice
I knew it.
and
It's the
his whole
emo-ness
it's the whole
behind the voice.
attitude of like of how she changed him. It's the thing. It's that like you could like a lot of people could put themselves into the place of Sophie and be like, "Oh, he can be changed. He can be fixed," kind of thing. And it's the protector mentality. It's the he's the coward always running away. But and it's that scene where he's like, "I'm tired of running away. Now I found something I want to protect. You." That's like
That he runs away.
hook, line, and sinker. He runs away to protect them.
Eh, did he do much protecting? I feel like they kind of protected themselves.
They do. But I mean the whole point is that like he's trying to stop the bombs from falling on the house. That's like what he's trying to do.
Also, how does he do that? He grabbed onto the bomb and didn't do anything. It landed.
He stopped it from exploding.
Oh, he diffused it in the air?
Yeah, with his magic, yeah.
Oh
It
man.
it
Okay.
landed but it didn't explode.
All right. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Point 1 for movie Howl.
But he's kind of boring.
He's a
His
little
spells
boring
are
in
interesting.
comparison to the book.
Yeah,
The
in
book
comparison to the
is
book.
But when you just judge movie Howl on his merits alone, you know, he's the mysterious, he's the aloof, he's also the pretty boy. You know, we can just go off of that alone. He's the pretty boy.
Right.
And that already takes him up 60 points out of 100. It's like he's pretty. And then you start
60 out of 100. Dang.
and then you start adding up like, all right, 10 points because he wants to protect Sophie, another 10 points because he looks really good in the house moving scene. It's just a lot of it is aesthetics, man. I'm at 90% honesty here. I gotta just be honest about this.
All right, so 90 points out of 100 is because how he looks, and then the other 10
Is his
is
I'm using air
his
quotes personality.
his emo personality.
Yeah, his Christian Bale voice.
Wow. I don't know what to
So
say. I
basically what you
guess
don't like about him is what everybody else likes about him.
he's just this flaky drama queen kind of dude who
Miyazaki disagrees with you. He thought he was improving him.
this is the one thing we disagree on, Miyazaki. Everything else, I agree. Anime is a mistake,
You
you
to
know.
Miyazaki, look how they massacred my boy.
I mean, in the book, I wasn't a big fan of him either, but I'll take him in the book over the movie.
Yeah, I'll take him. I like him in the book. He's so sweet. The book has a sequel and I need to read it. I haven't been able to get my hands on it. It's not a direct sequel. It stars two different characters, but Howl and Sophie do make an appearance. They're like side characters in the
Oh,
sequel.
okay. Well, he's almost a side character in his own movie, so
Yeah, in his movie, yeah, in the book, he's there. He's there.
yeah.
So one of the things I had yet to touch on, and you know, we are a movie podcast. The I think let me see if I can. I don't want to misquote Miyazaki-san,
Wow.
but I believe he intended for this movie to not do successful in the US. Oh, it's Miyazaki believed that this movie would be unsuccessful and unpopular in the United States due to political reasons. One, because it was an anti-war message, and I think this came out during the Iraq War. Yeah. Uh he actually, when this movie was nominated and premiered, well, first premiered in the US and then nominated for in the Oscars for Best Animated Film, Miyazaki did not attend the LA screening or the Academy Awards because he was protesting the Iraq War that the US was currently involved in. And that was another reason why he was so heavy on the anti-war message in this film, was because he greatly disliked the US's involvement in the Iraq War. And then he add on that the main character was an old woman, like 90% of the time in the film. He really thought that this movie would not do well. And then he was surprised that it actually became one of like the highest grossing Ghibli films in the US.
He had no idea. how many women would be head over
He
heels
had no
for
idea
Howl?
young Caroline watching this in her room at 4 a.m.
All the young
would
Carolines out
have
there.
an awakening to the type of guy she was into when she saw Howl.
This is terrible.
It's also a joke because I would not in real life. But young Caroline did have a crush on Hal when she was a youngin.
The only good point is the old lady protagonist. That's true. I don't think people care about the war thing. I think that, sits in the background. But yeah, a lot of times animated movies, and just movies in general, it's supposed to be a beautiful protagonist, typically young and beautiful. I mean, good thing Hal was there, to carry all that weight.
He was the young and beautiful
Yeah.
protagonist.
But then Sophie, it's true. Yeah. Old, not very relatable to a large demographic of people who are going to watch animated movies, I guess. But that one I believe. That one I believe to be true.
This is leading me down two trains of thought, and I'll start with the first one that popped in my mind. And I touched on it in the beginning of this episode, where what I really admire about both the movie and the book is that they kind of stick true to the core aspects of the characters a little bit. Maybe not in Howell's case, but in Sophie, it's pushing unconventional characters or in the spotlight or flipping them on their head. Whereas Sophie, the main character is an old woman. And yeah, in the movie, she fluctuates depending on how she feels about herself, but she is an old woman for a huge part of the film. And I like that that's like something pushed forward because you almost never see a story about an old woman and she's the protagonist. And then you have somebody like Calcifer who's a demon, but he's actually really helpful and
He's a
really
good demon.
he's the good kind.
I like in the book, there's a line where I think they're being introduced, I don't know, in the castle, maybe to Sophie or something. And Hal says, like, oh, he's an evil demon. And then Calcifer says, hey, I'm not evil. It's just okay, but he is a demon still. That's what I like. He's like, I'm not evil.
I'm trying to remember if there's a line in the book, but I feel like there was where he even says, Howl is more heartless than I am.
Wink.
Wink.
That's the scene we needed in the
Sophie.
movie.
Oh,
Can't tell you what the spell is, but
I
he's
miss
more
all
heartless.
the references that Calcifer does. He doesn't do enough in the book, in the movie. In the book, he's dropping them everywhere. When you reread it, if you reread it, but for me at least, when I reread it, I caught all the hints where he's saying like, "If I go, Hal goes too," or like, "You think I'm heartless? You obviously haven't seen how heartless Hal can be." Like all these lines that he's saying about how
Yeah.
he's really the heart of Hal are just perfect.
So he's probably so frustrated with Sophie.
He's so frustrated with her.
Like, man, Hal, have a heart. Huh, Sophie?
He does say that at one point, yeah. Or I think like even when Sophie's almost gonna have her heart attack after seeing the scarecrow, uh Calcifer even says because he's like, "What's wrong?" Hal goes, "What's wrong with Sophie?" And he goes, "Not everybody can be like you. Her poor heart had a jump start." Little smart things like that. But Calcifer just being like overall helpful, he can be kind of snarky, but he's not malicious at all. When I originally read this story, I thought for sure he was going to be a villain of some kind or like double cross them, like trying to like, or even like steal Howl's soul or like he's slowly going to consume Howl if you don't break the curse or whatever. I thought all these things, but no, he's like just overall just a helpful fire demon.
Very helpful, kind, and loving demon.
And then even just
Those kinds.
in comparison, if you want to go to like to the book characters, the stepmom is not an evil stepmom. Fanny is actually trying to help her daughters and stepdaughter, like I'm sorry, daughter and stepdaughters overall. Like she's an okay character. You have her sisters who can be kind of crazy with their antics, but you would think that the story would be about one of them. They're like doing their own thing, but it's not. It focuses on Sophie. There's just a lot of good things. Even like Howl being the love interest, you would expect him to be this like dashing Prince Charming, and he's not in the book at least. He's over emotional, he's egotistical, he's whimsy, he's aloof, he's a playboy. Just every character is flipped on
And
their
I'll
head.
describe him in the movie.
He's aloof. He's
Period.
yeah, and he's pretty.
And you know what, ladies? That's all you need.
And you know what? What's a man if not for some eye candy? Am I right, girls? I'm right.
uh,
Oh yeah, best Ghibli
don't
boy
do that.
right there.
Don't do that.
Oh yeah, Sophie, best Ghibli girl right there.
Ghibli girls, that's an actual competition.
That is an actual competition. There's so many Ghibli girls
Yeah.
that are
Who's the
good.
Ghibli girl?
Oh, I feel like
Who's the
it's
top Ghibli girl?
I feel like it's San, Princess Mononoke.
Yeah.
I feel like
I just
she's
don't
got.
like when she pre-chewed the food and dumped it into
Oh yeah,
what
ew.
it
Chihiro's kind of up there, but it's pretty much San. She's like the number one.
Okay.
I think second is like Ponyo. Ponyo's another one
From where?
from the movie Ponyo. We have
Okay.
that's to be seen in the Ghibli journey.
Okay.
Ponyo's pretty good.
Well, that's a good I like that you pointed that out. Yeah, the stepmother is supposed to be evil. Demons are typically evil, I would say.
And typically, yes.
Not here.
I mean, in real life, yes, please. Everybody remember that.
Yes, please. Yes, please keep our demons evil.
Yeah,
All right.
but not in this book.
And I agree. I thought he was gonna be like a traitor or something. I mean, it's a demon.
Yeah, yeah,
He's
absolutely.
definitely out for no good.
I thought
But
for sure he was going to be up to something.
yeah, I was definitely convinced I was gonna see a Beauty and the Beast story. Like, oh, how do you break the curse? You gotta love him for who he is, not a ravenous crow, giant crow.
It's got some Beauty and the Beast elements on both sides, I feel. On both
Hmm.
sides. But yeah, I like that that's not like the whole root of the story.
But I don't. Am I hating too much? Let me think.
Go ahead, go ahead.
All
I'm
right.
here. I'm here. You know, we're both here to embrace the
All right.
conversation.
I don't want to give Hal that much credit because he admits. I don't remember if it was in the movie or definitely in the book. I don't know if it was in the movie, but he says that he knows there's a spell on Sophie. Like he feels it on her because he's a wizard of
Oh
that
yeah,
caliber.
he never says it in the movie.
In the book, he says like, "Of course I knew that." So it's not exactly Beauty and the Beast where he loves her for who she is and looks past her oldness.
Mm-hmm.
And in the movie, I assume he
He
does
does.
love her
Yeah.
for who she is,
Yeah,
or
her
it's probably one of
oldness.
those things that are not explained, but he does know, just like how Sophie really does have powers of witchcraft, but it's not explained.
Of witchcraft. I feel like a lot of things in the movie. That's like another thing why I wanted you to read the book before you watch the movie, so you had some of this background knowledge. Because the same thing when I saw the movie for the first time and then I read the book and then went back, I was like, oh, okay, so you can infer a lot of things from the movie from the book still exist in the movie, like him knowing she's under a curse and her having powers of some kind. But I really do like that scene, and that's something that I wish we got in the movie. If I was to say number one scene I wish we got in the movie from the book, it's that scene because I love it. That's a really big awakening for her too, because I think that's even when he tells her, "You like being under your curse. You like being able to hide
Yeah,
behind the old lady disguise."
yeah.
And that's a huge moment because that's also when she has to confront herself about that. That's a huge character growth moment for her because also one, he says like I could have broken your curse a long time ago, but you want to stay that way. And that's a huge reveal for me at least in the book. Reading that was like, "Oh my gosh, you know, we could have solved this all, but it's the fact that she likes hiding behind the old womanness." And you see it in the movie. Anytime that she feels shot down or anything, she hides behind the old woman guys. And we don't get a scene like that. We don't get a conclusion like that. And I feel like we needed it in the movie.
She embraced the old life very quickly too.
I feel like a lot of people would.
Really? I don't think so.
I feel like you would.
I have already, yes. But I'm talking about young people.
Case in point.
I'm talking about youngsters like you who have your whole life ahead of you. If you woke up tomorrow morning and your hands were wrinkly and you looked in the mirror and your face was
And my hair was gray.
yeah, your hair was gray. I mean, Do we have to get into any more details
My hair's
about how you
already like graying again. I see little like peaks of gray, and I'm like, oh man, it's time to die.
how would you react? You look in the mirror and you see granny line. How would you react?
Being day 18, no coffee is granny line.
We're talking about crow's feet.
Yeah, yeah, like
We're talking
real
about, yeah,
old granny line.
saggy bags under your eyes.
I would freak out, obviously. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. But she freaks out in a very silent way, and it's not until she wakes up the next day that she's like, "This is my life, I guess. I'm off."
I think that's a quick turnaround. I think a lot of people will still be like, how do I get out of this nightmare?
Or like running to her mom and being like, "My help! I don't know what happened.
I'm older than you. Help.
Help!" I think in the book they even touch on that her lifespan like drastically decreased by that happening too. Like it's not just, oh yeah, inside you're an 18-year-old, on just on the outside you're 90. It's like, no, that means your lifespan has greatly decreased too.
That's messed up.
That is messed
All
up.
to get to Wizard Howl, the
All to get to
Playboy.
hell. In the book, why did she get turned into?
Well, the movie, I'm implying the reason in the movie to the book, but I remember in the book, the Witch of the Waste said that she didn't want like any competing hat stores, so she like turned her into an old lady. And I don't remember why. Are you ruffling through the source material?
I am.
All right. Yeah, let me know when you got
Mm-hmm.
it.
I have it here. I'm reading it.
All right. What chapter? What verse?
Well, page 34 and 35.
Okay.
Let's
Everyone,
see.
open up your Howl's
Moving Castle.
Bibles,
How's Moving Bible?
not the Holy Bible, the Howl's Bible.
I want to edit that, but I also don't want to be sacrilegious.
Caroline, you're here with an open Howl's Bible. You're cross
I do
referencing.
have a Bible next to me. I want to make that clear. It's on the other side of my desk.
Open up a verse that says, rebuke all demons.
No! This is a side Christian conversation, everybody, but I was just like hearing yesterday from my pastor how it's not good to be lukewarm and stuff like that. And here I am recording a podcast about a fire demon.
This whole movie is just filled with. I'm not. Never mind. Go ahead.
Oh. So it's because the hats were getting popular and the witch could tell that they were enchanted by Sophie.
Oh, okay. So was I close? I said she didn't want any hat competition.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
runs a hat store, apparently. The Witch of the Waste.
Yeah, and she doesn't like that the hats are being enchanted to like have people buy them.
Yeah.
So she considers that a direct threat. So that's why she gets turned into an old woman.
Is that the only reason? Because in the movie, it made more sense.
In the movie, it makes more sense. Yeah, and yeah, she never mentions Howl or anything, and this turning her into this cursing.
Even though in the movie I got a little bit lost about it. I understand. I mean, I get the reason, but I didn't see the reason. Like she was using her to get closer to Hal.
Well, it's she understood it to be that Sophie was like the new girlfriend of Howl because Howl, picked her up and did the whole airwalking scene. And so the witch was like, "Okay, that's the girl. I'll wait until she gets dropped off or I'll follow her home."
Not on
And
my watch.
yeah, not
Not
on
on
my
my witch
watch.
watch.
Witch watch.
Not on my witchy watch.
3 a.m. Be
The,
prepared.
the witching hour. Also, I didn't like that in the movie, the witch knows that Sophie is with Howl. Like she knows the whole situation, that she's like cleaning up Howl's castle and she's hanging out with Howl. Like the whole conversation they had leading up to the run up the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like that they knew all of that about each other. When in the book, it was concealed and her identity was still somewhat safe. She didn't know, the witch didn't know that Sophie had anything to do with Howl.
Yeah. In this one, it was just like, "Oh, you're that hat girl. Did you take my letter to Howl or whatever?" And it's like,
Yeah.
It's like, why are you telling her everything, Sophie? Stop.
Yeah. But then she becomes an innocent little witch, and I guess it's okay.
An innocent, senile, smoking little witch.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
right, turn.
also,
Uh huh.
yeah, what happened?
No, no, you go ahead. You go ahead.
How old is Howl?
Are you ready for this?
In the book, isn't he supposed to be thousands of years old?
No, he's not. But
Okay.
we might need a little whoop whoop. Well, no, she's legal. Sophie is supposed to
No.
be Sophie's supposed to be 18 in all accounts in both versions. Howl is 27.
Hmm. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
There's people in my life that I know who have
There's
that
a
gap in
certain
age.
couple. Yeah, yeah,
Not only that couple, I know couples.
yeah. I do too.
Th- This is normal.
A couple comes to mind.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple couples come to mind.
A couple couples come to mind.
So he's not thousands of years old?
No, he's 27.
Wow, all right.
He's
He's not
my
ready to settle
age.
down yet?
Oh my gosh, I'm the same age as Howl.
Oh my gosh, that means you like totally have a chance.
I'm too old for him. He's like the Leonardo DiCaprio.
He's-
He only goes after the fresh 18-year-olds.
in the sequel, in the book sequel, you find out that he breaks up with her. And
No,
7 years later, he
I
breaks
already
up
know
with
what
her.
happens in the sequel because I read
Oh.
I read a little bit of the ebook. They get married, so they're married in the sequel.
Well, he put a ring on it.
He put a ring on it. He couldn't get out of it. Also
There's no
because
ring in the book, right?
no, yeah, they don't get married in the book. They just you haven't read the last chapter, so is it okay if I spoil it for you?
Yeah, yeah.
He just tells her like, "How's about we live happily ever after?" And she says yes, and that's kind of where it ends. It's
Aw, that's
sweet.
what everyone wants.
It's very sweet. And but in
Ladies,
this
don't get fooled. That's when it begins. That's when you gotta start
yeah.
fighting for your marriage.
Yeah.
It's not happily
Yeah.
ever after.
I support this message. It's true.
Right.
But in the sequel, they're married and they have a kid. Or really, she's pregnant and then something happens in the story where like a I think it's an evil wizard or something. Like I said, I haven't finished the story. I just know that something happened to where they were separated and she got turned into a cat. And keep in mind, she's pregnant. So she's turned into a cat and she gives birth as a cat.
Two
And so
cats?
to a kitten. Yeah. The
Whoa.
baby's a kitten. And Howl ends up being trapped as like a genie. So he's not fully in control of himself.
I wish you were free.
He's yeah, that's kind of what happens in the story, and the main character is kind of that Aladdin like figure, just like placeholder. There's a lot more that happens, obviously, and whenever he breaks the curse on Howl, the second curse that Howl's under now in his lifetime, Howl's able to turn Sophie back into a human, and then the kitten turns into a human as well, and they have a son. So they have a baby boy
That's pretty evil.
to turn
Turn a pregnant woman
into a cat,
and her
and
and her baby.
her unborn child is born a cat.
Yeah. Wow. The first evil wizard. They've all been nice so far.
Yeah.
What does Diana Jones think about the movie?
You know what, Tony? I'm so glad you asked. That was I
That's why
was
I'm here.
trying to figure out how to segue into that. So, remember how I told you Miyazaki didn't think this film would do well in the US? Well, that also extends to the UK. So it would be some time before the movie would be dubbed and premiered overseas. So he actually flew to England and gave Diana Jones a private screening of the film. And I believe I have her quote here. She said, "It's fantastic. No, I have no input. I write books, not films. Yet it will be different in the book. In fact, it's likely to be very different, but as it should be. It's still a fantastic film." So she enjoyed it.
Wow. No input or feedback.
She had no input.
Thought it was great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Nothing to say about Howl.
She didn't say anything more. She just said that she thought it was great.
Wow. That's pretty good. Imagine your work being faithfully adapted. Well, I don't know if you can say faithfully, but successfully.
Successfully. I mean,
Yeah.
imagine your work being adapted by Hayao Miyazaki. That's because Miyazaki already, he adapts. He adapted in his early career, and then afterwards, a lot of it was his own original work, like Spirited Away and whatnot. Mononoke. I don't. Is Mononoke Takahata? Gonna get my
I
memory
don't
is failing
know. You
me.
should know this.
I should
You're
know
asking the wrong
this.
guy.
I am asking the wrong guy. Miyazaki did Mononoke. He did Mononoke, which was somewhat original. I think it's based on like the tale of Asutaka. And then, he just Spirit Away was an original work, so for him to do another adapted tale is pretty cool.
I found it interesting when you first told me it was a book because I thought, we compare them to Pixar a lot. So I thought it was always original works. But maybe you could say since you changed so many things about this,
It's pretty original.
it's kind of original.
Yeah, I think it toes the line of being an adapted work with an original twist.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it, there's a lot from the book, but there's significant changes. War, demon rings,
Howl.
Howl, emo Howl.
Miyazaki's Howl versus Jones's Howl.
Yeah.
But I have a question for you.
What's up?
Which one is your favorite Sophie?
Oh, I didn't notice that much of a difference.
Sophie in the book, I feel, is a little bit more prone to outbursts and
She's a better old lady in the book,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
She's more old lady like.
Well, also she's described as having red hair and stuff like that. And in the movie they changed that quite a bit. They make her have brown hair and later gray.
I dig the gray hair, big time,
I dig her gray hair. She rocks it.
full length and post Calcifer Eaton length.
I dig the Calcifer Eaton length.
Yeah, I'm rocking the Bob Gray.
Yeah.
I think that's. Did I accidentally mention Pennywise?
Huh?
I gotta check myself. Hold on. Yep, I accidentally mentioned Pennywise. Sorry.
How so?
Bob Gray is one of the names he goes by in the book.
Oh my gosh.
If you type in Bob
Oh
Gray,
my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's the first one. Bob Gray, Pennywise.
yeah, yep, I told you. Something in
Oh
my heart leaped
my
when I had said Bob Gray.
gosh. This is becoming your new obligatory
No, no,
fan
no, 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 no,
reference.
no, 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 no,
Let's just
no.
shove it in here. Thanos, Top Gun, Davy, Shrek. What
Everything I
else?
like. All right, shove it in. All right. I forgot what we were talking about.
Sophie.
Oh yeah, I don't know. She seemed very similar in both.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I can't choose one over the other. I think they were.
What do we think of her as a character? I feel like we've spoken a lot about Howl and his 3 minutes on screen, but not Sophie and her 2 hours.
I don't agree with her love and Howl.
We just talk about Howl more.
Let's bring it back to Howl.
Let's bring it back to those dreamy, glassy blue eyes of his. Wowza. Mm-mm-mm.
I'm not gonna bring it back to that.
Let's chalk that up to another reason why he's the heartthrob of the Ghibli men.
I don't even know what to say to that.
That and that pink jacket. I've seen so many variations of that pink jacket of his that he wears in the beginning.
The pink jacket that he doesn't put on, that he wears like a cape.
It's just over his shoulders. Yeah, that's
What
like
a
style point.
what an annoying
Wow.
guy.
He rocks it so well.
No, he
He's
doesn't.
got that preppy look. Mm.
He does not rock it at all. He's barely wearing it.
I wonder how like the logistics of that work. One day I'm gonna wear a jacket just to see how long it takes till it
Oh,
slips
it's
off of
annoying.
me.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Just to see
Just
how
think
long it
about it.
takes. I imagine it is, but for him, maybe with magic, it stays perfect.
Unless you're like cold and then your quarterback boyfriend gives you
Your
his
quarterback
Letterman.
boyfriend.
He wraps you in his Letterman
I would imagine
jacket.
you're cold, but you want to have free reign of your arms and you're moving stuff
That's what
around a
I'm
lot.
thinking. Yeah, when your man wraps you in his sweater, that's when you'll feel what
I'm just
Howl
imagining
feels like.
Sophie putting her jacket on Hal's
Howl is
shoulders.
rocking the cold cheerleader look.
You know what? I really, and this might be a hot take to some of my friends who like Hal, but I don't like when he has his hair cut. You know, like the bangs and the blonde
Oh, you don't
bangs.
like his bob?
I don't like his blonde bangs. When you see him again, like
Yeah.
he shows up, he cracks the eggs, and he makes breakfast, and then he takes a bath, and then comes back down to like rescue Calcifer, who's almost being put out, and he's got a definite cut bob, and then the bangs. I don't like that look.
Well, that's how he first shows up too, right? When you
No,
first see him on the street.
the shaggy hair. That's his shaggy hair look.
Oh,
The
so
shaggy
you don't
hair.
like his He-Man look?
I don't like the He-Man. I love the shaggy blonde hair.
I don't like any of his hairs.
I like, the black hair is a very close second. I do love the black hair, but in the book, he stays
The black
blonde.
hair?
I like the
No, no,
black
the
hair.
black no.
I like the black hair. I know you're gonna say he looks like a woman, but not to me. Not to me.
But not to You look like a woman, you are a woman, but not to me.
He's not a woman.
You'll always be a woman, but
You'll
not
always
to
be
me.
Howl Pendragon to me, buddy. But I like the shaggy
Howlina
blonde hair.
Pendragon, all right?
Howla.
Howla at your boy. He looks better in the audiobook cover.
There's
Look
so
at the
much.
audiobook cover.
There's so much amazing fan art of him from the book. It makes me want him more. The book Howl.
Send me a couple so I can roast it.
Let me go to my private folder.
This is already.
This is just saved images of mine.
Let me let me go to my invisible folder that I keep on my desktop.
Let me go to the pictures that my friends send me.
The folder is named homework.
Actually, no, I should have sent you these.
No, I should transfer that to a more private folder.
Let me password protect this.
Let me two-factor authentication.
Yeah, let me set up a voice code. I feel like you're gonna roast all of these so hard, and I don't want to send you any of them.
Send me one.
Alright, I'll send you one.
Oh, the Edward Scissorhands.
I mean, yeah, the sleeves. He doesn't have scissor hands, but yeah, he's got that look going for him.
But he's going for that look. That's pretty good. So he just has regular Shrek Prince Charming hair.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites.
Yeah, he looks like a respectable man right here.
A respectable man.
Longer blonde hair.
I'm trying to remember where. It's somewhere in the book he has
pink. Okay, and then that's supposed to be Sophie with her red hair?
Yeah.
Okay.
This one's one of my favorites. It's just them fighting. Oh, this is where it's from. Yeah, this is. He has
a glittery blouse.
That's that jacket that she enchanted. That's like he turned it black for the funeral.
Oh, okay.
But it comes from this artwork that I saved, and it's like them in the movie versus them in the book.
These are pretty good. I'm surprised.
Hey, there's some talented artists out there that are a fan of this story that do a good job at.
Oh, I'm not surprised that they make beautiful art. I'm surprised that I like them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it looks good.
All right.
Yeah. Much better than what we saw in the movie.
Hey, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'll say it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. I'm about to ruin your day.
How do you mean?
I was gonna say, you like those, but you don't like this? Look at that enchanting blonde hair. For reference, everybody, I just sent Tony a screenshot of wallpaper. The film. Yeah.
You screenshotted your
my
phone?
My current phone wallpaper.
This is the very first scene of them walking on air, the first miracle performed by Howl.
The first miracle performed by Howl.
I assume this is a Genesis and Howl's Bible.
This is Genesis in the Howl Bible chapter. Actually, this is Exodus. It's chapter 2. They're journeying through the air.
Howl takes flight.
You are the wind beneath my wings.
Caroline, what else you got for this movie? This is your movie. This is your moment, your
This is
time to
my
shine.
moment. My
What have we not
moment.
spoken about?
I don't know.
Did you speak your mind? Did you speak your heart?
One day, maybe in the distant future, I don't know how long I'll have to wait, but one day I do want a faithful adaptation of this movie that won't lessen my love for this current film. Because for all the highs and lows that I've spoken about this movie, I do love how kind of I don't want to use a word like mindless, but I do love that I can really just sit back, turn my brain off, and enjoy what's being shown to me because it's a beautiful film. For aesthetic, just already in animation and the art, so much care went into that, into just already the artistic aspect of the film. The story is an added bonus, even though I agree it should be like the focal point, but it really is, for me at least, a feel good film that don't think too hard about it. It's going to have a happy ending kind of thing. And I think that's why I gravitate towards it so much. It's just the beauty of it, the music, the fact that Sophie is relatable in so many aspects, but also can be her own character and stand on her own strength. Because overall, I think she is the best character in the book and the movie. And both of them succeed in portraying her. And I think that if they failed in, with Howell, you can have different interpretations and you can like him or dislike him, but Sophie being likable was the win. And the movie and the book did that. And so I'm very glad that we got the Sophie that we got, despite whatever Howell we got.
And this is, just for the record, this is your favorite Ghibli movie, right?
That's right. I don't know if I needed to preface that, but I'm glad that you reminded me to do so because, yeah, it is my favorite Ghibli movie. It's kind of the one that is. It's also, I should say, one of the movies that is the most prevalent in my life, which means just like as a fan, I've said this before, like I'm a huge Star Wars fan and Beauty and the Beast fan, but I don't have Star Wars posters in my room. I
Caroline.
well, I'm getting there.
Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa, whoa, what?
I don't have Star Wars posters in my room. I don't have a Beauty and the Beast poster in my room, but I have a Howl's Moving Castle.
But you got other Star Wars and Beauty and the Beast representation in your room.
Yeah, yeah, but like I have what's the word? Even like on my keychain, I have a little what's it called? I have a little calcifer. And then I have the
I
earrings.
got to see that.
No.
A calcifer, yeah.
It's cute. But what's it called? It's just this is the movie that's the most present in my everyday life. I have like a sweater with House Moving Castle on it. I have a shirt. If for some reason this movie I gravitate towards it so much that it's so present in a lot of my belongings and just my personal items and stuff, and there's just a beauty about it. I feel like there's more in my head, but it's not translating well on my in my thoughts.
It's all good. You're letting your heart speak. That's what this is
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is very nice. I don't know if it's definitely not my type of movie.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
I'm glad I saw it though. I will say that. But I still gotta say, Spirited Away. Still very strong.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I was gonna ask you, but I'm glad you kind of beat me to the punch there. And you want to give me kind of a loose Ghibli journey ranking in your heart, in your mind?
How many have we seen so far?
We have seen, and I'll try to catch you up as best I can, Spirited Away, Castle in the Sky, Princess Mononoke, and now Howl's Moving Castle.
Castle in the Sky?
Castle in the Sky.
Wow, I forgot about that one.
Yeah. You remember the original name for it?
Uh,
Laputa? I tried to say it so gringo so it wouldn't be misconstrued.
Puta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
like like Florence and her name.
Oh, man. Wow, I forgot Castle in the Sky.
Mhm.
Let me look up some images real quick to.
I got you, fam.
Oh, yeah. You have a Castle in the Sky folder?
I don't. I'm going straight to Google Images.
Oh, yeah, that story.
Do you remember with those robots that were in Age of Ultron?
Yeah, I remember that. What do the. Oh, yeah, that was a good scene. Them falling through the sky.
I still remember when he plays the trumpet and that.
Yeah. Man, but why do I not remember much of it?
I feel like that's the effect of Castle in the Sky.
Spirited Away is still number one. Then I think I'll put Princess Mononoke number two.
Okay. All right.
And then I think I'll put Howl's three, and then Castle four.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I go
Right
back and
now, that's
forth.
what I'm feeling at the moment.
I go back and forth so often, but I have to be honest with myself. And you know what? I'll be honest with myself even further. I agree that Spirited Away is the better movie, but my heart loves Howl's more.
I like that. Yep. I love that separation.
So the heart ranks Howl number one, Spirited Away number two, and then Princess, and then Castle in the Sky. But the real ranking is, I think, what you said.
I'm still hoping to see a movie that can top Spirited Away.
I think I prefaced this when we saw Spirit Away. That's hard because Spirit Away is heralded as the best Ghibli
Yeah, I
film.
know.
We started with the best.
Uh, I know. All right. We'll see.
We have a lot in the lineup for the Ghibli journey. There's still quite a few.
Yeah, I got to see a bunch of these Ghibli boys that you have folders of.
uh, there's one that I'm so scared to show you, and I feel like when I say it, it means you're gonna want to see it next. So I'm not gonna say it.
All right, let's see that one next.
No, we're not
You don't
doing
even have
that.
to say it.
No, we're not
That's what
doing
we're
it.
seeing next.
No, we're not.
After the next 4 weeks we have planned,
Yeah, after
we're
our
seeing that next.
we do have our next 4 weeks planned. I'm so grateful for that. We have our schedule laid out.
And I barely know
You
all
know
of them.
you know the next one.
Yeah, I know the next one.
And the one after that
Yeah.
is and then the one after that.
That's what I'm forgetting. I know
Okay.
you said it, but
All right. We'll keep that a surprise.
all right.
So
Caroline, is your heart content? Is your mind at peace?
I think so. There's only so many synonyms and phrases and times I can say how beautiful this movie is before I sound like a broken record, but I guess it's just if anybody listening hasn't seen this movie, you got to see it. You got to watch it.
Should they read the book?
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
What do you want to say to the book haters, and what do you want to say to the movie haters?
I want to say to the book haters, don't be so quick to hate on it. Yes, Howl is a player, but it comes to a beautiful fruition. And just give it a try because Diana has such a unique way of writing. Her writing style is, I feel like it's a little bit, what was the term I used? I was talking to my friend Mari about it. And I told her it feels whimsical. I feel like her writing style is very whimsical. And I don't want to say it's easy to comprehend because I don't think that's true either, but it's very whimsical the way she words it. And it feels like your mind is going on an adventure. And she almost forces you to imagine things and to use your creativity. And it's just, the book is a great experience, very akin to watching this movie. And I think that's why I'm a lover of both. At the end of the day, I love both equally because both of them take you on such an amazing adventure. So if you love this story, read the book, and you haven't read the book, read it. And then if you have read the book, read it one more time so you can catch all the hints and things like that, because it's all, I think it's better on the second read.
All the heart hints that are given by Calcifer.
The heart hints and even the build up in the romance, you can kind of start seeing it there too. And where some of the plot points, how they start foreshadowing it in the beginning, and you're like, oh, that's a reference to what happens later on. Because like Howl's even under a curse in the book, and like they give all these warnings of like the mermaids and the mandrake root and whatnot. So there's a lot of little gems in the book that are really good.
Also, did we go over why you know people who like the book and hate the movie and love the movie and hate the book?
What do you mean why?
Like, did we go over the reasons why they do?
Oh, you
Is
know
it just
what?
Howl? Is it just because he's a playboy in the book, or is it because other things? Because it wasn't adapted correctly?
I guess yeah. I so my friend, one of them is very outspoken, but I do have people. I know about three people that hate the movie because of they read the book. And yeah, the reasoning is because they don't like how the romance, air quotes, was handled,
I get it.
and they
Wait,
don't
which way? The movie or the book?
the movie.
I get it.
They don't like the way it was handled. They don't like the war aspect. I think it's a lot of what we spoke about, but they're just a little bit more passionate about it. And also, I should preface that like two of them are not Miyazaki fans. So they don't appreciate that kind of style that Miyazaki
Oh.
brings to it.
It's like in a hypothetical scenario, like let's say Zack Snyder were to make like a movie about King Arthur or something, that would not be your jam, correct?
Absolutely. That
All
would
right.
not be my jam.
All
Yeah.
right. I get it.
Mhm.
And not liking Miyazaki, interesting.
Yeah, that's something that I didn't know it was possible, but I know people who don't like Miyazaki. And then like vice
Maybe they don't
versa,
believe anime is a mistake, and that's where the
that's where
dividing
the
line
fault
is.
line is. You know what? That actually would make a lot of sense knowing these people. But on the vice versa side, the movie lovers and the book haters, it's actually because they like Howl in the movie a lot and they don't like him in the book. I know. I know.
Come on, guys.
I know.
You could picture him to be hotter in your mind when you're reading
You can
it.
picture the look of movie Howl in book Howl.
And apply like actual characteristics, like
Personality.
emotions and personality. Yeah,
They like their guys. I keep saying aloof. What's a synonym for aloof?
that's all we got.
That's all we got.
They like loners, soft spoken emo boys.
This actually makes a lot of sense when you boil it down to that.
No,
This
I already knew as soon as I heard his voice. The first line he said, I'm like, dang it, I already know.
That's one of the reasons I like him. I like a guy
I
with a good
yeah
voice.
yeah I know now.
Mhm.
I know now. I totally get it.
Christian Bale did not disappoint me. Mm-mm-mm. I really do just it can you imagine if we actually got book Howl in movie Howl's appearance? We could have heard the equivalent of "Oh, good for you" in
Yeah,
a movie. We could have gotten that. We know he's capable of being sassy.
in some universe, somebody got that.
Oh, good for
If this
you.
was a faithful
And how
adaptation,
was it?
and how was
And
it?
how was it? Oh,
Wink at camera.
we were robbed. We were robbed.
Are we movie haters now?
No, I'm not. I love it.
You sure? All right. I'm
I'm
not
looking at
either
my
then.
crooked poster and I
Yeah,
still
you
love
gotta
it.
fix that.
Dude,
You want me to buy you that laser
I
aligner
had
thing?
Ashley over and I told her, I said, Ash, do my wallpapers look crooked? She tilted her head and went, oh my God, they're all crooked. And I was like, no. She's like, I can't unsee it now. I need to help you fix this. And I was like, well, we're in a rush. You can't do it now. And she's like, well, I'm going to help you soon. We got to fix this.
It's so funny to think about. you put one crooked poster on there, and you were lining everything up to that crooked poster.
I did. For our audience, what he said is exactly correct. I put one poster up and I aligned all of my posters to look like they're in a row with that poster. And the original poster was crooked. Now all of them are crooked.
I just saw a wall of crooked posters when I showed
That's
when you showed
exactly
me.
what it looks like, a Jackson Pollock painting. It's just crooked everywhere. It's just chaos.
Tilts her head. Now it looks straight.
She tilted her a little bit and went, "Oh my gosh." And I was like, dang it. I had to call in for a second opinion and I got the same result.
Yeah, everyone tilts their head in that room.
Everyone, Davey did call me out and say that I tilt my head a lot. And I didn't notice it until he called me out for that. That might
So
be why.
when you were putting it on, that's why
It
you
was
thought it was
straight
straight.
for me.
Yeah. You never straightened out your head to double check?
No, I wonder why I do that though. This is like maybe a conversation for off pod, but yeah, I don't know why I tilt my head a lot whenever I'm looking up at my posters, and so right now they look straight to me. But obviously, when I straighten
Don't
up,
crane your neck though.
I'm
Straighten it out
like,
now. How
oh
does it look?
snap, it's crooked,
Even in
all of
bed,
it.
when you like look over to your wall, does it look straight?
No, it does look crooked when I'm lying down and I look over. I'm like, oh, I gotta fix all that.
You've left it
Well, I
crooked
mean,
for so long.
now I'm awakened to it. Before I didn't even realize I was living in oblivion,
Yeah,
and now you and Ashley smashed the glass for me, so all I see are crooked posters.
yeah. Oh, that's funny. All right, I think we're done here.
All right, everybody. If you're hearing us on your favorite podcasting platform, go ahead and give us a honest review. If you're hearing us for the first time, hit that bell icon to get notifications. If you're hearing us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon for more notifications for when we post as well.
All right, I'll just say, ladies who are into Howl, you can do better.
Nah.